Hey guys, today we're going to be installing the Tom's Off-Road Premium Fold and Tumble rear seats. This kit's going to come with everything you need to get your seat installed in your Bronco. You're going to have your seat, which is a fold and tumble seat. It has a hinge on both sides. 2 pivot brackets, and there is a left and a right side for this, so you have to be careful which side you put it on. You're going to have 4 5/16 bolts for your pivot brackets. 2 7/16 bolts for your catch loop bracket. And the tools you're going to need is a 5/8 inch socket, a small pick, a tape measure, a pencil or a piece of chalk, a drill with a 3/8 inch drill bit, and it might be helpful to have a 7/16 tap to run through your holes for these bolts. Mine were super rusty. So your first step in installing your seat is going to be installing your catch loop bracket. Now this bracket uses your factory rear seat belt mounting holes. You're going to use your 7/16 bolts. Just simply run it through your bracket. All right, so now that we have our catch loop bracket mounted, we ran those bolts down with our 5/8 socket. Just a ooga-dooga and a half tight. We're going to take our pivot brackets here and we're going to mount them onto our seat. Now your kit should have come with 2 3/8 inch E-clips. Now there is a certain side that these brackets go on, and the best way to tell is with the indention facing down toward your seat. You want to push this onto the bottom post. And the way you know if it's on the right side is when you rotate it around, this relief cut is going to go around that post. That's what's going to stop your seat from rolling too far forward. Now you're going to work this thing down, push up against that leather, and way down in here is your groove for your E-clip. Just snap that on. We're going to do the same for the other side. Now these seats are super sturdy. They feel great, they're super comfortable, but they're not heavy. And that's one of the great things about installing these. So we have our pivot brackets, one on each side. We verified that they're in the right side. We have our E-clips mounted on. We're ready to set this in the back of the truck. All right, so we've moved to the front of the truck here. We've got our seat sitting roughly where it wants to be. Now you can use that catch loop and the seat latch to get your seat set roughly front to back where it wants to be oriented in your truck. But now you need to make sure that it's in here square, so you're not sitting crooked in the back of your truck. The way I like to do that is to use your tape measure and just butt your tape measure up against the front of this bracket here. And you can find this body line on your Bronco where the sheet metal of the front and back lap together. And I got it roughly 18 inches from the front of this bracket to this line. Then I'm going to go to the other side and I'm going to make sure they match. And that'll make our seat sit in our truck nice and square. All right, so we're going to take these pivot brackets back off of the seat. And the reason we're going to do that is so we can physically take this bracket, set it where it wants to go, where we've made our mark, and then we can make really good marks for where to drill our holes. Now that's where this Harbor Freight pick comes in. To pull this E-clip back off, the last thing you want to do is to shoot it across your garage. So with our pivot bracket off our seat, we can set it here on the line we made a minute ago with our chalk line. You're going to set it in this bed rib here and use the edge of your bracket up against the raised portion of the bed rib to make sure that your 2 holes are lined up perfectly straight. Then use your crayon or your pencil to mark your holes. Repeat the process on the other side. You're ready to drill. All right, so now that we've got our drill points marked exactly where we want them, we're going to go ahead and drill our holes. Now, I know everybody hates drilling holes in their Bronco, but we've been super careful to make sure these holes are exactly where we need them to be. All right, so now that we have our holes finally drilled in our truck, we're gonna put our pivot brackets back on our seat for the last time. And we'll be ready to put our seat back in the truck. So we got our seat back in the truck. We've already put 2 bolts in to kind of hold it in place. But we're ready to put our last 2 bolts in. You're gonna need a helping hand to hold the nut on the bottom. Here they go, just drop right in. And we're ready to bolt them down. All right, so we got her all bolted down, and all we gotta do is do a functionality check. Little latch on the left, it folds, it tumbles, we're good to go, we're done.